and thank you again for listening to another podcast of the Gospel Rescue Mission. My name is Brian Boteller, and we are here again for part 2 of our interview with Kim Day. And we have got myself and Shauna Boteller, my wife, and the women's coordinator of the Gospel Rescue Mission, and just asking Kim again more questions about herself, to tell a little bit about her story, how she got here, and where she's heading. It's a great interview, and I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. Let's listen in and see where we go.
One of the things I wanted to ask you too, a lot of times we get an objection when someone comes in because we don't let them go search for work the first 30 days. When I do an intake on a lady, basically I want them to come in and get their feet underneath them, catch their breath. Let's plan out the next steps, right? So they don't get to go on work search. So tell me a little bit about what that was like for you, because you had been such a hard worker your whole life. What was that first 30 days like, not being able to go look for work? What was going through your mind at that time that you thought you needed to do with that time?
And I was just like, I just want to get it all back right now.
Mm-hmm.
But after I talked to you, I was just like, because, I was going to 8 groups a week.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know how to get to those groups. It's like,
Right.
How I'm going to be in those groups. So
It was a tough schedule.
It was a tough schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And then to keep the house schedule, and then I wanted to be, I was upset
Mm-hmm.
when I thought about it, but then I was also grateful, because without the mission, I feel like, and I'm grateful for that, because it gave me the opportunity to really get the most out of my treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Right.
So, because they gave me a lot of homework.
They
and
did.
And I took it serious.
Yeah.
Because, I wanted to do well, but also I wanted to really get the most out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people in this treatment, hey, I'm not going to do this again.
Right.
I only want to do this once.
Right.
And it was mandated that I go to treatment, It was a strong suggestion. And I'm like, well, I need to do this for myself. But I also did it because, I wanted to be around people. Not that I could go in a group and talk about things. I did it for the counselor, so I could have a counselor to talk to, and again, the structure.
Right.
Did it for the structures. But the mission gave me the opportunity, like, hey, we're going to give you the time to go do this. We're going to give you the time to,
Right.
gave me a roof over my head.
Make you make the time to do that.
Yeah, make
Yeah.
me make the time to do it, and be understanding about it, and make sure that Shauna knew that was my first priority.
Right.
Nothing else really mattered except for my sobriety.
And I think you needed to also, the hard thing is because in our minds we think life has to be this way. And I think you needed to hear that you had to give yourself permission to give yourself the time. Our program's here, but you mentally had to give yourself that permission to go through your treatment, go through your healing that you did, and make your recovery a priority like you have. And I think that time was really critical to your recovery.
Yeah.
And it helped set a foundation for you moving forward, because you weren't without a job for very long. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, I was scared to death. I'm a felon now.
Mm-hmm.
Doing what I did changed my whole life. It didn't just, I went to jail and this and this. Now I have a felony record.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm marked. I feel like that's really how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody who says, hey, Kim, but then they find out I'm a felon, it changes things.
Right.
So, and I know that. So I was really scared to go look for a job. So when I became the RA, and and being in an office, and like being in charge and not being in charge, but helping those ladies come in and out and being, and helping around the house and just being one of the leaders, helping, lead the groups. But that gave me the confidence. If it wasn't for that, I don't think I would have maybe ever got my confidence back to actually do what Well,
you were a great RA.
It really helped. It made me feel good.
Yeah.
So each week, it gave me a little bit more confidence. Like going to the groups and succeed. It was just like a step success.
Yeah.
Or succeeding.
Yep.
And talking to you guys, and even going to chapel.
Yeah.
Chapel helps a lot too, I have to say.
Well, it helps. I always hear another point of criticism that we get.
Never ever want to criticize chapel because it's part of the structure, Brian.
Yeah, I agree. We get so much flack for being a Christian organization, and they're like, why do you guys do this? And I'm like, because it's at the root of what we do. There's no other reason for us to do what we do. It's the gospel. We believe that the gospel actually changes people. We believe it changes the way people think. We believe that it changes the way people see themselves and the world around them. We believe that it brings meaning and purpose both to the good things that happen in life and our suffering. Yeah. We believe all of those things, and so there's no way we'd ever do without it. And yet somebody on the outside looks at it and goes, well, you're just forcing people to listen to something that they may not agree with in trade for giving them food and clothing. And I'm like, no, I'm first of all, I'm not obligated to give them food or clothing. Second of all, they're not obligated to come into our program. All of this is consensual. It's everything about it
not
is
being held here.
Yeah,
right.
and we tell everybody at the beginning, we're a Christian organization. So if you want help from a Christian organization, this is what it looks like, and this is what it looks like. And we're not just interested in getting you food and clothing. You're walking away from here with what? This is kind of this is part of the excitement about a story like what we're doing today and telling your story, is because we get to hear the beginning point, we get to hear the middle point, and now we're getting closer to the end point. We're going, what has happened in your life since then? So, and Shauna was asking about your job journey. Tell me about what's been happening with you. You've had more than one job. As far as employment, and this is the thing people don't get with us, they think for some reason we're trying to hold people back from getting jobs. I just want to hold them back for 30 days because they're not ready in the first 30 days. I want to get them ready, and I want to get them rested, and I want to get their minds clear, and I want to get them focused. I want to get nutrition in them. I want to get their hygiene prepared. I want to get them all ready to go so that when they do go and look for work, they get it. And you know what? Our people get jobs. They get jobs. They get jobs.
Absolutely.
We really could be our own employment agency almost. And the fact is that we're not even the ones doing it. We're just prepping the workers to be ready for work, for work in a professional world here in Grants Pass doing good things. Now, you've gotten, 2 jobs?
Yeah, I've actually had a lot more offers too.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
So I was afraid because of the felony, but once I started doing it and I had my first interview, I was just like, okay, I can do this.
Yes, you can.
Then I became, I want to say almost addicted to it. I was looking for jobs constantly. Yeah. That's what I would do. Is and I filled out so many applications, and I did get some calls, and it was just like, and yes, the felony did keep me from getting a lot of those jobs.
Sure.
And I went on the interviews, and I even went to I went to Master Brand, I went to the interview, went to the orientation.
Sure.
But when they said, the felony, they wouldn't hire you for 7 years, I'm like, okay, I'm wasting my time.
Yep.
I didn't get up and say, hey, I'm wasting your time. I called them the next day because I didn't want to say, hey, I'm a felon in front of everybody.
Right.
It just sucked. But, he has other plans for us. So,
well, that's true.
So I moved on.
Yeah.
But, it really
So
Yeah,
you
I'm
got
not afraid to go look for another
The first job you picked up was for one of the local hotels, right?
Well, I started working at Little Pantry. That was
Little
the first
Pantry,
job.
right, okay.
Yeah, and I told them about my felony,
Uh-huh.
and they're like, "Pfft," you know, and I was like,
Right.
oh, okay.
What they need to know is, yeah, but can you work? And do you carry yourself well, and do you treat people professionally, and or, can we trust you, and all that, and on all those things you fired off, yes, and of course any time they, especially, I mean, there's when they know you came from the Gospel Rescue Mission, they already know the answer to a lot of those questions. They go, oh, okay, we know this person clearly can work, clearly can walk, manage a schedule and everything like that, and clearly is ready, and we can see you, and you're professional, and you're clean, you're gorgeous, everything. They're going to go, okay, we know exactly this person is right what we need for our team. Mm-hmm. I understand why organizations put structures like, golly, a felony's kind of a big deal, and everything, and we want to be careful who we're associating with, and we'd like to see some time between that incident and where they are today, because we don't know, and so I don't blame somebody for setting a standard, but right now, especially in, Grants Pass is, frankly, it's been this way for as long as I've been here. Grants Pass is they're incredibly gracious as a community. What they're really concerned is they're not concerned about the details of your pass as much as they are, can you show up and actually work?
Yeah.
And will you stay clean while you're working? Will you stay clean? So if you can give a good UA and you can work hard, they're ready to sign a hand, shake a hand, and go. And if we get along,
especially now, there's so many employers that cannot find workers.
Right.
We have really excellent working people here that are seeking employment. And I would just say that the employers that turned you down, to me, it's their loss, because you're one of the hardest working people I've ever met.
Yeah.
And I think that even though Little Pantry is a fantastic place, they're a fantastic employer for you. I wouldn't discount that you would be maybe on track to move up in their company. Who knows? But you're a great worker.
It is a thought, they'll never work me over 36 hours unless somebody calls out, and then I get to pick up that shift. So I never know, and I will pick up any shift. They were going to come and get me. They called me from White City the other day, and they're like desperate, and I'm like, well, if you can find, this is my first day off in a while, I go, if you can find somebody else, but if you can't, come get me. I'll come work for you. Yep. It's not a big deal, I'm always the one to be like, okay, I'm right there. I've worked for Dwayne. Dwayne's called me, and I'm like, sure.
Dwayne's a mission graduate and a total champion, man. I mean, that guy's been fantastic. Another guy. In fact, there's been multiple people that have gone through, Little Pantry, but it's not just Little Pantry. I mean, we've had employers from Wild River, Home Depot, Walmart, Little Pantry, Burger King,
some
McDonald's,
of the hotels.
many of the hotels, virtually all of the hotels at one point in time or another has taken one or two of our people. I've seen Tap Rock, lots of folks. I mean, the fact is when you're looking for somebody, especially in service industries, and our community is kind of a service industry, driven, at least a good chunk of it, is you need people that are geared for that, and what they find is that people that are staying at the mission are really geared for that. They're ready they're hungry to work, they're hungry to get a leg up and start their journey. And I've talked to numerous people who are now managing in those companies, that started here, just trying to get a job somewhere, and we've had numerous ones, and so I'm always grateful for those kinds of organizations. So your progress here was really good. You did well. You transitioned. You're now into our transitional program at Faith House. And the mission runs Faith House, and we have Hope House, which is just a men's transitional program as well, where we'll be looking to expand both of those, as time goes on. And they're for folks that have graduated through our program and, proven that they can do those things that are needed to do. I was just talking to our men's coordinator today, and the entire group at Hope House are now looking for a place where they can move out of Hope House and in together. And I'm like, that is perfect. That is such a perfect transition for them to move from that to the next step in their life will be, they enjoy each other's company, they get along, and together their incomes are combined enough they can rent a house and stuff. And that's really ideal. I think we've got this mindset that everybody in our country has of, every job needs to pay for a single one-bedroom apartment. And I'm like, there's not enough single one-bedroom apartments on the planet, that's a ridiculous expectation. When I moved away from home, I had to have, friends that we roomed up together with, and today I can't afford the house that I live in without my best friend and I, combining our incomes and everything, and that's just the way it works nowadays. And I think that it's unrealistic for everybody to expect, a single person to independently get their own place. But you've got some great things going for you. You've got savings going on, debt paid down. You're really on the right track.
Yes,
to
I do.
leaving
I have
a
little ways to go, but
Sure.
every month or every day it gets easier,
That's good.
because I'm still working. This May 9th, I will be 1 year clean.
That is awesome.
And,
Good job.
I've graduated from treatment a few months back, and I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. Next, I'm working on getting my license back.
Good.
It's fantastic.
That's going to take a little bit, but
Sure,
I'm doing it, and
And we
gotta start
just
somewhere.
I'm
celebrated
still
your
looking for another job.
we just celebrated your birthday together last week.
Yeah.
That was nice.
And we were kind of joking around because I told you your birthday this year was a lot different than your
last
birthday
year.
last year was.
Yeah, because last year I was in a hotel room by myself, kicking myself for doing what I did a few days before that, and I was just like, at that point, it was like, that's when I was like, you need to turn it around.
So Kim, there's a gal somewhere in a hotel room right now watching this video who's kicking herself and not sure about the Grants Pass Gospel Rescue Mission. What would you say to her?
Get up off the floor.
Yeah.
Get up off the floor that you're stuck to and open your heart, because seriously, there's people out here that care about you, and you're better than that.
Yeah.
No matter what, you're better than that. So get up off the floor.
So the people in the room next to her who are all spun out, every time she talks to them about the mission, they say, it's a cult and you can't go to work for 30 days. And you got to quit smoking. What are you going to tell them? What would you say?
What? People that do that are stuck in their own little sadness.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the cult.
Yeah.
Drug life
right.
is the cult.
Hey, that's a
They
great
will suck
spin
you
on
in.
it. Yeah.
And, if you can't hang out unless you're going to do dope with them.
Right.
Believe me, because I know I try to get clean around everybody before. And you're not in the cliche if you don't do drugs with them.
Remember
you
being
will
on the
never be in that clique.
You were in the circle, but then the minute that you say the minute you try and stop, now all of a sudden when you walk up, everybody hushes up. They stop talking. They're like, oh, here she comes, and stuff, and everybody gets real quiet.
Yeah.
You were in their circle, in their little cult circle of trust.
Yeah.
But now that they know that you're not using anymore, they don't trust you anymore.
Yeah, and they
you're
don't
out.
trust you. And
Yeah.
they don't talk about, they'll go in the other room because they don't want to do it in front of you, but you're still left sitting there and it's like, oh, yeah, come over, we'll hang out. But then what do? They get up and they go in the other room because they don't want to do it, and then you're left sitting there going,
Right.
well, this is no fun. And then they get stupid because you're sober.
Right.
Worst thing you
Yep.
can do is be around people on drugs when you're sober and you're
Yep.
going, oh my gosh, they're idiots. But, what I would just tell them is, anybody is going to try to drag you down.
Yep.
They do. They try to, and that's the cold. That's, that's, if you want to change your life around, you got to get away from those kind of people.
Right.
Because those kind of people will drag you down.
Yeah.
I know I was one of those people, and I tried to crawl out of it, and I have crawled out of it.
Yes, you have.
But it hurts because you feel like you're alone. But you know what? You're not alone because there's so many of us other people out there
Yeah.
that want you to be a part of us
Yeah.
and get away from life like that because it's not worth living.
That's exactly right.
It's really not. And I feel like I say get off the floor because I do. I feel like I was stuck to the bottom of the floor
Sure.
and I couldn't get up. It's kind of like being drowned.
Yeah.
You can't breathe,
Right.
and there's just no surface.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you get up, and then, when I was sober, I actually my counselor asked me what I wanted most, and I said, I want peace, and I want to feel joy again,
Yeah.
because I forgot how to feel joy because I was so hurt. And then, it took a long time.
Yeah.
It really did. And now I can feel when I'm walking down the road, I was just like, oh my gosh, it smells really good, the flowers. And I'm like, that's when I noticed.
Yeah.
I feel joy. I actually felt that in my heart. And I got really excited. I was by myself, but I was like, okay, nobody saw that. But I was just like,
That's awesome.
it's like I'm opening up, And when I got the job at the hotel and I quit because of my counselor, I actually seen her on the streets and I told her everything that happened. And she's like, you set your boundaries.
On your own.
Yeah, well, I called Shauna constantly. Shauna goes,
You get some help, but yeah.
I was
asked
just
me that,
yeah.
it really wow, did I? But
Yeah, I was
called
reminding
Shauna.
you.
I called her the night before and I called her that day and she's like, so when I seen her later, she goes, did you need my permission to quit that job? And I was like, maybe. No, but I just didn't know which way to go.
Yeah.
But in my heart, and I talked to everybody at work that day. I talked to the customers coming in at pantry, and they're like, oh, you don't need that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just like, but the really one person I wanted to talk to was her.
Yeah.
And Jennifer.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I needed somebody close to me to talk to. And then I was just like, I woke up the next morning and I did it. And I called Shauna just to make sure that, shit, I did it.
Yeah.
And she said it. Sorry, she's my language. But
That's okay.
She
We can bleep that out, or we can just let it stay. You know what I mean? We're big people here. We can do that.
Well, sometimes though, especially with that situation, we're not always going to just tell you to find any job. There are jobs out there that aren't good for your recovery. They're not good for your lifestyle that you want moving forward.
Yeah.
And you were stuck in that decision like, okay, this might jeopardize my recovery at some point. And I was proud of you because not only did you set that boundary, you stuck to it, but also you chose your recovery over an income source.
Yeah.
And that to me will always be a win over a paycheck.
Yeah, that's true.
Always.
Yeah.
You know, it's a thing that people don't understand, is they think, oh, I'm doing this person a real solid, this homeless person a real solid by putting them up for a couple nights in a hotel. And what they don't realize is happening in our hotels is some of the worst human interactions that are going on anywhere. And the hotels, it's not the hotel's fault. The hotel has no ability to control it. There's human trafficking that's going on in these hotels.
And it
There's
is.
incredible amounts of drug abuse and distribution going on in these things. And so you take a person who's in there, who's barely hanging on, and you throw them into a circus of the bizarre that's just all the things that they really needed to get away from. And what you could be doing by putting this young lady up in a hotel is you could be putting her right back into the connection that she's been trying to escape from her pimp. What you could be doing is putting them
Or
right
drug
back
dealer.
into their drug dealer and stuff like that. And so in the name of helping, what they end up doing is doing tremendous damage. And that's true whether it's there or in the little homeless camps that we're trying to set up everywhere. And I'm going, you're inviting the very problem that you recognize as a problem, but you just don't, you just expect, I guess, too much out of the goodness of the average broken person, and it's not that they don't have potential goodness in them. It's just that they're not in contact with that right now. They're just in a reactionary lifestyle that just, and they just are, all they know is victimhood, and so they're jumping from one spot to another, either being a victim or being the victimizer, one or the other, in these bad situations. And I don't think that the hotels are really, it takes somebody really strong in their recovery or to not be, struggling with those things, to manage those kinds of businesses, and without potentially picking up the bait that is constantly left around to fall into that. So,
well, I think too, like for me, there was mothers there. And it was my job to make sure they paid every day. Obviously, 11 o'clock, checkout time, and you pay. So I had to constantly call this one lady, and her kid was up. She was up. She was not awake. But her child was maybe 4 or 5. I don't know. Sweet little girl.
Aww.
So it made me think, okay, well, how's she taking care of that kid? Is that kid eating?
Right.
Is that kid doing this? So I kept thinking about that, and my thought was to call,
DHS or something like
But-
that.
when I was little, when my dad left my mom, we were in a hotel room. And I just remember being on top of a big pile of clothes, and there's 5 of us kids, and we got taken to foster homes. So it was Catch-22 or whatever you want to call it.
Sure,
oh my
yeah,
God.
right.
And I just remember being in the foster homes and what that was like, and I didn't want that little girl to have to go through that. And but then again, maybe it's the right thing to do for her. I just didn't know. It's a very hard decision to make.
It's a gamble because you never know what kind of foster home they're going to be end up in.
Exactly,
and stuff
because
like that. There's great
I've been in
foster
some-
parents, and then I've heard of kids. I've talked to countless
there's always
people
some pervert in
who
them.
came from
Yeah.
who were just became part of a different victimization system.
Yeah.
And somebody, we know the stories. So, okay, well, basically, I think we're going to probably wrap it up. This has been great. If there's a way that maybe there's people watching that go, I'd really like to continue to pray for Kim and just and encourage her. Is there anything that you'd like prayer for from the people that are watching this?
I just want to find my way.
Yeah.
I just want to be happy, and I want to help those. I just want to be a part of something bigger than me.
Yeah.
That is my goal.
Well, you are that. You are part of
I've
something
always
bigger.
wanted
than
that.
you.
I just want to be a part of something bigger than me, and I want to inspire. But I'm hoping. I'd like to go to be a peer support soon.
Great.
Maybe.
Okay.
Obviously,
be
that's not going
That's
to
a
happen
great idea.
soon, but it's I'd like to help other people. Because I know how hard it is, and
Yeah.
I know what it's like to be alone, feel alone, and I just thank God for you guys, for the mission, for for this community, for options, for everybody. But it's just this community. I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah. Grants Pass is so great.
And I really pray that nothing changes that, and you guys can keep doing that because, it's important for women to have a place to go to, and men.
Yeah.
And to feel safe.
I see men that I used to see here.
Yeah.
I see them come into the store, and it hurts my heart.
Yeah.
But that's their decision. But it still doesn't change that it hurts me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep.
Well, maybe it's not time yet for them yet, though.
Yeah.
Well, that's the one thing that a lot of them circle back around. You know, I mean, they go, they fail out of here, but they learn something about us, and so when they're done, really done, when they're done play quitting, and they really decide that this is the last time, they come back in. They know something about the mission. They remember, and they see you. They'll see you in there, and they're going to go, you know what, Kim did really well.
Yeah.
And she did really well there, and maybe I should rethink that.
And choose it again.
Yeah, and Shauna and I see them, people across town as well. People that came in and didn't finish well. We see lots of people who come in and did finish well.
Well,
and
even the ones
happen.
that do leave, though, I always leave the door open. Hey, you want to come in and talk? Let's come have coffee and, let's catch up. Let's see what we can do to help you. Even if they're not a resident, I still want them to be okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that having still that open line of communication is really important.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and if everybody thinks like it's so hard at the mission, it's harder out there on the streets.
For sure.
The
The barriers are actually harder out there on the streets than they are getting into the mission.
They think the freedom, they can do what they want, they can, go do this and that, but think how hard it is to think, where are you going to go to the bathroom?
Right.
Where are you going to brush your hair?
Especially with the
where
city shutting
Are you gonna
bathrooms
brush your
down.
hair? Right.
Are you going to, how are you going to get clean clothes? It's fine for a day or two.
Yeah.
But what about next week?
Right.
And, to me, that scares me to death. That right there, I do not want to be that person.
Well, you don't ever have to be that person, and that's great. You made the right choices.
Yeah.
And really, recovery is about making the right choices. I mean, doing the right things, it's about making the right choices. Sometimes making the right choices starts with somebody making those choices for us. Sometimes it starts with somebody, kind of forcing us to make the right choice or whatever. But in the end, we only hold on to the choices that are ours. We only keep doing the ones that are our choices. And so in the end, that's the stuff that really carries us through and keeps us going in the right direction. So for folks that are maybe watching this and they're going, wow, this was a great story. We're probably going to break this into a couple of parts and everything, but I want people to know that this is where your money goes to when you donate to the Gospel Rescue Mission, when you contribute. I mean, the only way we can do what we do is because this community and people across the country believe in this work. They support it. And it doesn't have to be a lot because, with a lot of people giving a little, it really goes a long ways. We can stretch it a lot. We've got great buying power. We can do a lot of things with a little bit, here. I mean, I can feed somebody for a few weeks on $10, and stuff, and clothe them, and for free, and I can do all kinds of different things along the way. But I can only do that because people give generously to us. And so if somebody wants to donate to us, grantspassmission.org/donate. Go to our website. It's the easiest place to go and support us. And for those of you who do donate and watch us, and really, if you've been blessed by this ministry and this video, this story, and Kim, thank you for sharing that. I mean, that's so profound.
Thank you.
I just want, them to know that, hey, you are the reason that we've got this success going on. They have paid into your life. They have paid into our lives to be able to do these kinds of things. And we are so humbled and so grateful for that. So if you're somebody who donates, thank you from the bottom of our heart. Thank you for all that you do. And you had mentioned the T-shirt, and we've mentioned it off and on, and I didn't bring any T-shirts with me, but you can get a Gospel Rescue Mission T-shirt in Grants Pass at the Second Chance Thrift Store. If you don't know where it is, it's secondchancegp.com, I think, is the, you can find it, you can get to it from our website. They're on Facebook, but they're right on the corner of 6th and J Street in downtown Grants Pass. And we've got a coffee mugs, and we've got, and this is not one of my coffee mugs from there, this is Tailhold Coffee and Rogue River, we've got coffee mugs there, we've got T-shirts there, and all the proceeds go to support the work that we do here at the Gospel Rescue Mission.
Second Chance and Booth Street are accepting donations of household items, clothing, furniture,
always,
all that stuff. That helps the ministry as well.
Yep. So there's all kinds of ways that we try to be very, clever with our time and our energy to do things that really make it easy to support such a great organization and all the work that God's doing here at the Gospel Rescue Mission. Thank you again for taking the time to, both of you, taking the time to do this interview. Really appreciate it.